Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be showing you my Criterion collection. And I have both DVDs and Blu-rays, and I'm not exactly sure how many I have, but I am going to show you what I do have. And I will start with the DVDs, and these are the digipack editions. And I'll start with Two-Lane Blacktop, which came out in 1971, and it stars James Taylor and Dennis Wilson. And it was the first film for both of those guys and the only film that both of those guys were in. And there on the cover you can see the 1955 Chevy that James Taylor drives in the movie. And Dennis Wilson is the mechanic. And this is a pretty nice set. It comes with, show you what we got in here. You have the digipack of the DVD and the Blu-ray. And then you have a pretty nice sized booklet. It's probably about 40 pages. Let's see. Yeah, it's close to 40 pages. With some essays and some write-ups. And there's even a section in there about the restoration of the film, which looks beautiful, by the way. It even looks good on DVD to me, but the Blu-ray looks fantastic. And then you have this huge book. This is the screenplay. And there you can see a very young James Taylor. And then Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys. And there's that 55 Chevy. And they go on a little, it's a race from LA to the East Coast, because they meet up with a guy that has a GTO, Pontiac GTO, and then they end up racing him. And a pretty decent movie. I like it. I'll probably give it about a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. So that is Monte Hellman's Two-Lane Blacktop. I believe that one might be out of print right now. I'm not exactly sure. But next up we have Repo Man. And this one is from 1984, and it's a sci-fi comedy. I like this film. I would probably give it about a 7 out of 10. And it stars Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton. And this movie came out in 1984 and has a very good soundtrack. And I'll show you some of the innards on this one. Here's Harry Dean Stanton. It's a pretty good caricature of him. That would be a good poster right there. And then you have the pretty thick book about the movie. It's got some comics in there, and looks like it has some of the dialogue from the film, which is pretty cool. And this is the DVD version of it. There's a caricature of Charles Manson. And then you have the film on disc 1, and you have the supplemental material on disc 2. Comes in a nice little, there's Emilio Estevez. Comes in this nice little digipack. I really enjoy it. And that was Repo Man. Next up, this is the very first Criterion I ever bought. And this one is called The Vanishing. And this movie came out in 1988. And it's a very plain case. This is how they used to... I suppose I probably should have told you the spine numbers. This one is spine number 133. And it has a pretty decent sized booklet that comes inside. About a 4 or 5 page booklet. And then you get the DVD. And this was released by Criterion in 2001. And this is a very creepy movie. I think this is a movie from the Netherlands. I think this is a Dutch film, because it has, I believe it's in Dutch language, and then it has English subtitles. But it's about a man who goes out on a hunt looking for his girlfriend who was abducted. They haven't found her, so he goes out on his own to try to find her. And he kind of plays cat and mouse with the abductor. And without giving the ending away, this is probably one of the most chilling endings I've ever seen in a film. And if you guys saw this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to give it away because I want you to see it for yourself. But maybe it's because it's one of my phobias. But this ending here creeped me out. This movie stuck with me. I mean, it still stays with me to this day. And I hope it comes out with a Blu-ray release. But for now, I'm keeping this DVD. And this is a very good movie. I might revisit this one soon, because it's been a few years since I've seen it now, but very, very good movie. I would probably give The Vanishing 8 out of 10. And next up is David Cronenberg's Videodrome. And many of you guys have seen this one already. This has a Blu-ray release now. This is the DVD release. And I plan on keeping it because I love this packaging. I mean, it comes in a Betamax looking case. I mean, how cool is that? Long live the new flesh. And then on the back you have the reels. And I mean, this kind of packaging, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff. And I know the Blu-ray has the same packaging, but it's a little bit smaller. It's Blu-ray size. I'm going to keep this DVD. This has everything I need in it. I mean, it has all the special features. It has the movie. I don't really need it in Blu-ray. Comes with this nice thick booklet, probably about a 40-page booklet. So I really recommend this film. I would probably give this about a 6.5 out of 10. But just the packaging alone, I mean, it's pretty cool. It has James Woods is in it, and Deborah Harry, who played Blondie, or who was Blondie in her singing career. And it's kind of a sleazy. James Woods plays a sleazy TV producer, and he's pretty good at playing sleazy roles because he played a really sleazy character in Casino too, when he played Lester. But you know, there's a lot of horror elements. There's sex and drama and violence and torture and anything you want in a horror film. But this is pretty decent. You know, go grab it. If nothing else, grab it for the packaging. But the movie's pretty good too, so it's good to have in my collection. Next up we have Carl Theodor Dreyer's Vampire. And again, this is an edition I probably won't upgrade because I love having this edition because it comes with the book as well as the digipack with the movies in it. This is spine number 437. And this movie came out in 1932. And it's kind of a supernatural haunting type of a film, and it gets by. It's a silent film, but it gets by a lot on its editing tracks and its atmospheric fog and the echoes of the film and stuff like that. It was filmed in France. And let me show you some of the insides here. Comes with this nice thick screenplay of the book. And I really love that Criterion adds this kind of stuff to their collection. I get so swept up in Arrow Video and some of those other, you know, Twilight Time, I almost forget how good we have it with Criterion. They're easily one of the best. And then look at this, I mean, look at the packaging. That's just outstanding. Carl Theodor Dreyer was a Danish director, and he really did a great job. I mean, he was way ahead of his time as far as I'm concerned with this movie. You have the film right here on disc 1, and then you have the supplements on disc 2, and then you have another booklet on the inside. I mean, Criterion covers you on this edition. There's nothing else you need after this. So if you are a fan of this movie and you don't have it already, I recommend. I'm not sure if this one has a Blu-ray release or not. If anybody knows, leave a comment below. But I don't plan on picking up the Blu-ray when I have this this nice little DVD digipack. So I'm gonna keep this. And next up is Equinox. And this was one of the this is kind of an older Criterion release because it comes in this this thick packaging that they don't really use anymore. It's got the swing trays on both sides. So here you have disc 1, and it's the films. It's a pretty cool backstory about this film. There was 4 teenage filmmakers that came up with the idea for this film, and they tried to make it on a very thin, I mean, like literally like maybe $1,000. You know, they tried to make a film on a shoestring budget, and they did pretty well for what they had. But they pitched their idea to some businessmen, and they invested $6,500 into this movie, and then they helped get a producer to make the film. So there's two different versions. You have the original version that the students created, and then you have the updated version also that had the professional producer and the bigger budget in there. So, and then you have a nice little write-up about the film with some stills, and I really enjoy this movie. You know, it's one of those movies that it's so bad it's good. You know, you hear that quite a bit. But this movie here, you know, it, for what it was, and for the small budget that they had, this movie is really very, very good. So if you haven't watched this one, give it a try. It's got some sci-fi elements, and it's got some horror elements, and it was filmed in the canyons in California, so it has some nice landscape to it too. So give Equinox a try. I would probably give this about a 7 out of 10. And that might be a little bit generous, but I'm going to stick with 7 out of 10 on that one. So that was Equinox. And that came out in 1970. Up next we have Haxan, or Witchcraft Through the Ages. And this is another older release. And this one came out in 1922. And it's a silent film, and it's shot in kind of a documentary style. And it's kind of hard to explain this film, but it kind of explores like grave robbing and torture and Satanism and possessed nuns and just rituals of witches and stuff like that. It's not to be taken seriously though. It's this documentary style movie was not made to be. They didn't want you to take it serious. They just kind of, I guess it was more for like shock value back in the 20s. And then you have a little thin booklet here with some write-up on the film and the restoration and stuff like that. And I don't think this one has a Blu-ray release yet, but this would probably look pretty decent on Blu-ray because I think they can clean this one up a little bit. And this is one I would consider upgrading because this packaging is just pretty bland. There's not a whole lot to it. So if they came out with maybe a Blu-ray digipack or something, I'd be glad to upgrade this one. So that was Haxan, Witchcraft Through the Ages. Now next up, I think I'll just go with this one here and get this one out of the way because I'm sure many of you own this already, or you've probably seen dozens of unboxings of this already. And this is Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman. And this is probably the best box set that I've seen from Criterion. And this was the longest running action series in Japanese history. And this box set here has 25 films spanning from 1962 to 1973. So you got 11 years of the films spanning out in this edition here. And it's about the lightning quick blind swordsman Zatoichi. And it's got action, obviously, and then it's got some drama elements to it, and it even has some comedy in it. You know, I haven't watched all of them, but I have watched a few of them, and they're all Japanese dialogue with English subtitles. And you have the DVD and Blu-ray of each film too. So I'm not going to go through all of this. You guys have seen this all, but the best part of this box set to me is this nice hardcover book, and it's really nice. I mean, it's got glossy pages. The paper is pretty thick stock, and it just goes over each title. Very, very cool. I mean, the artwork is outstanding. And if you haven't picked this one up, I suggest it. You know, if you like samurai type movies, action movies, these are very well done. And you won't. It's a little pricey, but if you get it when Criterion has their half-off sale, then you really come out like a bandit. You know. And I've seen guys on YouTube here that have they kept the Blu-rays and then they sell the DVDs, and that kind of cuts into the price even more. So if you want to do it that way, I'm going to keep them all. But you know, if you wanted to make a little extra money, you could sell the DVDs and just keep the Blu-rays in there. You got the whole set there still. So okay, up next we have we'll go with the Red River. This is a very good Western. I love Westerns anyways, and you can't really go wrong with John Wayne. And Howard Hawks is a great producer, director, and this is one of the rare films where John Wayne was the bad guy. And John Wayne actually, well, I'm not going to give it away at the end, but you'll have to see it yourself if you haven't seen it already. I highly recommend Red River, and I would probably give it 8 out of 10. And this is another digipack that they, did an outstanding job. It's a 1948 film. And then you have Blazing Guns on the Chisholm Trail by Border Chase. And this is the book that the film was modeled after. And you have the entire book here. And it's a beautiful set. And then there you see a picture of Montgomery Clift, who in this movie was John Wayne's adopted son. And there you have the Duke himself. And this was when he was in his prime in the late 40s and all of the 50s and even into the early 60s. John Wayne owned the silver screen. And he was a very good actor, and he was spectacular in this film. And then you have the pretty thick booklet on the inside. Once again, Criterion takes good care of you. So you have, on this side, you have DVD 1 and 2, which is, this is the movie and the supplements. Actually, no, this is the theatrical version, and that's the pre-release version. So I apologize for that. And then on this side, you have the Blu-ray pre-release version. And on the bottom, you have the theatrical version. So very, very nice set. And if you haven't seen it, or if you were on the fence about picking it up, I would suggest it. I would probably give this film about an 8 out of 10. It's that good. I mean, anything with John Wayne, come on. And it's kind of hard putting this all together with one hand, so kind of bear with me here. And that is Red River. Up next is one of my more recent pickups, and I picked this up probably about 4 or 5 months ago. I haven't really bought too many Criterions in a while, but this is one of the more recent ones that I bought. And I've always been a big Beatles fan, and to see this on Blu-ray is pretty cool. This is it's from 1964, and this film was shot 1 month after the British invasion of music to America. And they're kind of basically they're just kind of hamming it up, and there's some very good. It has a very good soundtrack, and you're seeing all the girls screaming and swooning over these guys, and they're kind of hamming it up, and it has a lot of comedy into it, and it's more like a comedy musical. But I really recommend it. If you're a Beatles fan, you got to have this in your collection, and most Beatles fans have this already. So it's a 3-disc set. You have the DVD, and you have another DVD. This. Okay, it looks like this one is the movie. I didn't watch any of the DVDs. I just watched the Blu-ray. So, and DVD 2 has the extras, and then this is the Blu-ray of the film, which the Blu-ray looks outstanding. I mean, they really did a great job with the restoration of this film. And then you have Hard Day's Night, a very thick booklet, and there you see John Lennon. And these guys owned the world in the early through mid 60s, even to the late 60s. These guys were just unstoppable. And I still think to this day, Paul McCartney is probably the best musician in the world. That's just my opinion. But I'm sure a lot of you guys have your own opinions about that. And up next we have Scanners from 1981. And many of you guys have this one already. And this one has that famous head explosion scene in it. Another David Cronenberg horror. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen this already. I'm just going to show you the innards here, because this has some amazing artwork. It's got a little, well, maybe about a 15-page booklet on the inside, and it's got 3 discs again. You have the 2 DVDs, and then you have the blue. And I have watched this version. I've seen the movie a couple times, but I have watched this version, and the quality is very good. So if you like Cronenberg and you like Scanners and you haven't already picked it up, I would suggest picking this one up. Add this one to your collection. It's a pretty nice digipack. So that was Scanners, and up next is the Japanese version of Godzilla, or Gojira. And I really like this edition. It has that little pop-up Godzilla on the inside. And this has two versions of the film. It has the 1954 original version, which is Japanese with English subtitles. And it also has the 1956 Americanized version, where it has English dubbing. So you can watch this without subtitles if you choose to. And I do. I'm not really crazy about watching films in foreign language with English subtitles. Unless I have to. If I can, I will watch it with English dubbing. So there you got the... That's pretty cool. You got the Gojira popping right out at you. And then you get the Blu-ray here. And then you have a nice little booklet. I like the way they kind of stayed with the black and white theme in the booklet. The border's black and white and all that. It's pretty cool. This is a beautiful edition right here. So we have it pretty good with Criterion. Sometimes I have to remind myself that because I get so carried away with Arrow. I forget how good Criterion is. Up next we have Dazed and Confused from 1993, and this is Richard Linklater's movie. You all know this movie already by now. It has a very young Matthew McConaughey in it. It's supposed to take place in America in 1976 on the last day of school. And there's a lot of... The soundtrack in this movie is outstanding. It's probably one of the best soundtracks you'll ever see in a movie. And it's got some dope smoking and all that good stuff. It's pretty good comedy. It's got a poster here. I'm not going to open up the poster. But you have a nice notebook style booklet on the inside. It's got maybe 50 pages or so. Really nice. It's got some glossy artwork and pretty thick stock paper. And then here you have the Blu-ray. That is Dazed and Confused. I like the movie, but I don't like it as much as a lot of other people do. I mean, I know this is a cult favorite. It's a cult classic, and there's so many people that love this movie, and I think some of those people maybe overrate the movie a little bit. I would give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. But then, you know, I'm not really into the comedies as much. I do like a good comedy every once in a while, but, you know, just like silly stuff like Adam Sandler and stuff like that, I don't really get into that kind of comedy. So this to me almost reminds me of a poor man's That 70s Show, which I think That 70s Show is way better than this movie, but it has similarities to it. So, and next up is Ace in the Hole, Billy Wilder's movie, and this is a very good movie. I really enjoyed this movie. And this movie came out in 1951, starring Kirk Douglas. And he plays kind of a creepy newspaper reporter who almost would sell his soul for a headline. And he's looking for the scoop of his lifetime because he's kind of hit hard times, and you know, he lost his job already once. Now he's on with another newspaper, and he's got to come up with something that, you know, that will make a name for himself. And he would even, well, without giving too much away, he would even risk a man's life to get that headline. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give too much of it away, because I would want you guys to see this movie. I would strongly recommend watching this movie. And it's got kind of like, their little insert is like a newspaper, because like I said, he is a newspaper reporter in this film, and I'm not going to pull it all out, but you got DVD 1 and 2 again, and then you have the blue, which I really enjoy this movie. I might even pop this one in again to revisit, but let's see if we can. There's a kind of a full fold out of the I can't really give you that. They made a little tent because they have to try to rescue. They're forming a rescue team because something happens in the movie. I don't want to give it away. that is Ace in the Hole, and I'll probably give that one a good 8 out of 10, I would say. Yeah, this movie is about an 8 out of 10 to me. So next up we have Fantastic Mr. Fox, and this is a Wes Anderson movie from 2009. So this was a kind of a more recent classic. And it's a stop motion. I enjoy it. I like this kind of I don't know, you want to call it animation, stop motion, whatever it's called. I enjoy this type of movie. Comes with a nice booklet here. Very nice. And again, you have DVD 1 and 2, and then you have the Blu-ray. And this one has George Clooney is the voice of Mr. Fox in this one. And you also have voice acting by Bill Murray, and Meryl Streep, too, is a voice in here. So if you're a fan of Wes Anderson or any of those actors, or if you like stop motion, I would recommend this. I would probably give this about a 6.5 out of 10. If I gave it 7, I think I'd be pushing it a little bit. But next up we have Picnic at Hanging Rock. And this is an Aussie movie, Australian. It was beautiful scenery in this movie. And there's the back. And this movie came out in 1975. And it's a drama mystery, and it has a little bit of horror into it, I think. Because it involves an all-girls school goes on a picnic. They go on like a field trip to go on a picnic at Hanging Rock. And while they're there, some of the girls mysteriously disappear without a trace. And without giving anything away, I'll just leave it at that, because if I say too, this has the entire book by Joan Lindsay. This is the whole novel right here that the movie was based on. How cool is that? And then you have a nice digipackage. I wish Criterion would do more digipack packaging. And then you have another book that comes inside with a thicker stock paper and a higher quality printing. Very nice. And again, you have the 2 DVDs and the Blu-ray. I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. I would recommend watching it. This is the kind of movie I would watch once a year, I think. It has a pretty good ending. And that is Picnic at Hanging Rock. And that is it for my digipacks. So next up, I'm going to show you my keep cases, and I think we'll start with Hitchcock. Yeah, we'll start with Hitchcock. This is The Man Who Knew Too Much, starring Peter Lorre. And I'm at 28 minutes already, so I'm going to have to try to fly through here because I do have about over 10 releases yet to go. So this is a 1934 film. It's a film noir mystery starring Peter Lorre, directed by Hitchcock, and I'd give this about a 7 out of 10. Up next is another Hitchcock, and this is The 39 Steps. And this one came out in 1935. This one is very good. This is a mystery thriller, and it takes place in Scotland, and it's an outstanding movie. I would give this an 8 out of 10, and I recommend anybody to get this one, especially if you're a Hitchcock fan. You probably already have this in your collection. It comes with a nice booklet. So that is The 39 Steps, and I have one more Hitchcock here, and that is The Lady Vanishes, and this is 1938. And I would also give this one an 8 out of 10. A young couple on a train trip befriends an elderly lady, and there's some kind of there's government officials that seem to want to question this older lady, and there's some kind of conspiracy going on. The lady vanishes, and the young couple search for her, and they ask people on the train, and nobody seems to have ever seen her. So it's one of those kind of movies where, you know, and it looks like the couple are nuts because, you know, they've had conversations, they've seen her, but nobody seems to know who that lady was. Nobody's seen her, so you have to check that one out. That's a good one. Up next is Rosemary's Baby from 1968. And this one has, this is a Polanski movie. I can't think of the lady's name. Mia Farrow is in here. And John Cassavetes is in here. And there's even a small role by Anton LaVey. It comes with a thick, very thick booklet. Nice quality stock on that paper. Very high quality print. And this is a good movie. I'd give this one a 7 out of 10. This is very creepy. There are times during this movie where it drags, and I think they could have chopped this movie up a little bit and made it have a better flow to it. But all in all, it's a very solid movie, and I would give it a 7 out of 10. And up next is Lord of the Flies, and this is the original version. This is the 1963 version, black and white. I think this is black and white. I can't remember. Yeah, I think this one's black and white. Comes with a nice thick booklet, and it comes with a little, almost kind of like how Arrow does with theirs. There's a little ad card for some of their previous releases. And this is a very good movie. I think I like the remake better, that with Balthazar Getty. I think that one came out in 87 or 88. But I do enjoy this one as well. And this one is 1963. I'd give this one about a 7 out of 10. And I would give the remake probably about an 8 out of 10. Next up we have The Uninvited. And this is a Lewis Allen movie. And this movie came out in, let me see here, 1944, I believe. Let me see. Yes, 1944. And this one is black and white also. And this is a haunted house type movie. Entities in the house, and it drives people insane. And it's tame compared to some of today's haunted house movies, but it does still give you, a little scare or two. And it's very well filmed. I like the scenes in the film. I like the way that that they film some of the scenes where over the shoulder shots and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. Up next is A Night to Remember, and this one's from 1958, and this is an excellent movie. I think this is superior to James Cameron's Titanic by far. I think I would give this an 8 out of 10. And yeah, that's about all I really have to say about that. If you haven't seen this one, I would give it a shot. So it comes with a really nice thick book. This is the British version, so it was very, very, very good. This was directed by Roy Ward Baker, and I am not familiar with his work other than this movie. I think that's the only movie I've ever seen of Roy Ward Baker. Up next is The Phantom Carriage, and this is another old one. This is a 1921 film, and this is a Swedish silent film. Very, very good. This is very creepy. It's about, in the beginning of the film, you see three, I don't know if you'd call them hobos or drunkards or whatever. There's three guys that are sitting outside, kind of vagrants, they're just kind of sitting around like by an alley. And a lady approaches them, and they kind of tell her the tale of the phantom carriage that comes into town to remove bodies. It's like that's the Grim Reaper, and he comes with his carriage, and he comes and takes people's souls. So it's kind of one of those movies, It's another atmospheric. Back in the Silent Age days, you had to rely on a lot of like your atmosphere to keep the viewer interested in the movie, and they really do a good job with this. And it cleaned up beautifully. This looks like it looks like it could have been made a couple years ago. That's how good the quality is on this. If you haven't seen The Phantom Carriage, I would give it a shot. And up next is Samuel Fuller's Shock Corridor, which is another great film. I really enjoy this film. And this is a 1963 film. It's a drama mystery about a journalist who admits himself into a mental ward or mental hospital type because he wants to win a Pulitzer Prize. And without giving too much of the movie away, he becomes more of a mental patient than he thinks, and it's going to be hard for him to get out, and you're going to have to watch to see if he does get back out or what. I'm not going to give that part away. I would give Shock Corridor an 8 out of 10, so check that one out. Next up is a Russian sci-fi horror film called Solaris, and this was made in 1972, and it's a drama sci-fi. Like I said, there's a little bit of horror element in there too. And it's about a psychologist who's sent out to a space station that is orbiting a distant planet, and he has to find out why the crew from that space station are not making contact, and he has to find out where the crew went. And when he finds the crew, I don't want to give that part away, so you're gonna have to watch it. I don't want to say too much. I don't like to ruin movies for people. I really hate it when people, give me spoilers on stuff and then I know what's coming. So I'm always very conscious not to tell people too much. I'd rather give you not enough info and let you find out for yourself than give you too much and have you mad at me. So that is Solaris from 1972, and this is in Russian language with English subtitles. That's the only way you can watch it. So this is one case where I had to watch it with English subtitles. So if anybody knows if there's a dubbed English version of this, please let me know and I'll pick that one up. I'd like to visit this again. If I can get away with not reading the subtitles, then I will, but if I have to, I'll do it. So up next is Lars von Trier's Antichrist, starring Willem Dafoe. And this movie was weird to me. I know there's a lot of people that love this movie. This came out in 2009. And I've seen people overrate this like crazy. I watched this movie, and I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10, man. I just did not really care too much for this film. It's about this couple, Willem Dafoe and his girl, his wife, lose a child. And it kind of spins into a depressing place. It takes you to that place where it's like a dark, depressing movie, and it's the couple try to retreat to a cabin in the woods so they can patch things up and try to reunite or kind of get their love back together to become one again, whatever. And things go from bad to worse, and that's about the best way I can describe this movie. I wish I wouldn't have bought this. I wish I would have just rented this or something. Now that I have it, it's in the collection, but I wouldn't recommend spending $30 on this. Get it, if you're going to get it at half price when they have their buy two, get one free or whatever, sale, buy, 50% off or whatever. Other than that, I would say maybe avoid Antichrist. Next up is Island of Lost Souls from 1932, and this is a Charles Laughton film, a very, very good film. And it stars Bela Lugosi. And you might know the famous line in here, "Are we not men?" And I love this movie. This is a great, great movie. Charles Laughton also stars in this movie as Dr. Moreau. I would easily give this an 8 out of 10, or maybe even 8.5 out of 10. I love this movie. There's Charles Laughton right there. And I can't say enough good things about this film. Everything about it appeals to me. It's very good. You got some sci-fi elements. You have some horror elements. You have very good scenery in this movie, and I can't recommend it enough. Go grab Island of Lost Souls. Check it out. And it looks like we have about 7 more. So up next is Badlands, and this is a 1973 movie starring Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. And this is a serial killer movie. Martin Sheen. Yeah, Martin Sheen. I was thinking of Charlie Sheen for a second. I don't know. Never mind. Martin Sheen is kind of a drifter, and he's kind of he can't really win. He's just kind of one of these burnout type guys, and he can't win, and he's got a bad temper, and he's getting fired from jobs. Well, he's a garbage man in the beginning of this film, and he meets Sissy Spacek, who is the opposite of Martin Sheen's character. She's a very wholesome girl. She's the girl next door. She can't do any wrong. You know, she helps her parents with the stuff and all this. Well, anyway, they hook up and they fall in love at first sight, and he drags her into the dark side. You know, he brings her over, and he's a bad influence on her. And I mean, tell me he doesn't look like Charlie Sheen right there. But yeah, this movie is very, very good, and I strongly recommend it. And yeah, I had to look at my dog for a second. It looked like she was going to barf, but she's all right. I'm getting off track here. This is a very good movie, and without giving it, it's kind of a depressing movie to see, you know, the effect he has on her, and he brings her along for the ride, and bad things happen. But this is a very, very good movie to watch, and I strongly recommend it. I would give this one probably an 8 out of 10. And go pick up Badlands. Okay, next up we have The Blob, and this is from 1958, starring Steve McQueen. And it's not as good as the remake, but it's up there. It's pretty close. And I've always been a big fan of Steve McQueen. I thought he was a good actor. Kind of a tough guy, badass. Kind of like a Clint Eastwood type, or even like a John Wayne or whatever. But this is a good movie, and I would give this about a 7 out of 10. So go check out The Blob. Next up is Byron Haskins' Robinson Crusoe on Mars. And I really thoroughly enjoyed this. I always like this kind of movie. I like all the Robinson Crusoe movies. You know, like Castaway and stuff like that. I really enjoy. This is a 1964 film, and this is shot beautifully. It almost reminds me of like a Mario Bava film, with all the different kind of like the pastels and the, you know, just the way that Mario Bava used to shoot his films. This is amazing. I really love this movie. I would easily give this a 7 out of 10, maybe more, maybe higher, but if you like sci-fi and you like those kind of Castaway type movies, check this one out. You'll like it. Very, very good. 4 more here. We have another Australian film called Walkabout. And this is a very strange film, the way it starts out. A man wants to take his young daughter and young son on a picnic, and while they're out there, he starts shooting at them. It's like he went nuts or something, and he lights the car on fire and kills himself. So he leaves the young children alone out in the outback to survive. And as the kids are out there, they come across this Aborigine who befriends them, and he shows them the ways of, you know, how to survive in such a dangerous place as the outback. And I really enjoyed this film. I would give this a 7 out of 10, if nothing else, just for the scenery in this film. It's breathtaking. I mean, it's really amazing. This is a very well shot movie. I really enjoyed it. That's Walkabout. And that one came out in 1971. This here is my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie, and this is The Killing. And this came out in 1956, and this is one of his earlier works, and this is, like I said, it's probably my favorite Kubrick. And it's about a group of guys that want to race, or that want to rob a racetrack, and they thought they planned it out, and they really do. I mean, they go over every detail with a fine-tooth comb, but they have one hitch in their plan, and you'll have to see what happens. This was very, very well shot. This is a very good movie. Stanley Kubrick's The Killing. And 2 more here, guys. We have Black Narcissus, which is probably one of the best visual movies I've seen shot. I mean, some of this, this movie came out in 1947. I would give this an 8 out of 10 solid. And some of the scenery and the shots in this film are just amazing. It almost looks like it was shot yesterday. That's how good this movie looks. And this movie has it's a drama, but it almost has like some sci-fi elements, and it has kind of like a some spiritual stuff going on, some evil entity type things that are happening to these nuns to make them lose their minds. And you'll have to watch the film to find out what I'm talking about. But that is Black Narcissus, and that's a 8 out of 10 for me. And last but not least is my newest pickup. I picked this one up about a month ago or so, and that is Watership Down. And this is a 1978 film by Martin Rosen. And this is almost a depressing film. I watched it with my kids before Easter, and it's maybe not the best movie to watch before Easter because there's a lot of violence that happens to these rabbits. And although it is an animated film, and it does have a lot of realism to it, you know, there's a lot of very realistic situations that happen to these rabbits. And Martin Rosen really captured the feel of the movie, and he draws you in with the story and the animation. And he actually there's another movie called The Plague Dogs that I remember. This came out in 1978, and I think The Plague Dogs came out a couple years after this. So I want to say it was like 80, 81, 82, somewhere in there. And it was the same style of animation, only it was about dogs. And I'm hoping that Criterion picks that up somewhere down the road, so we can add that to our collection as well. But this is a good movie. I recommend it. I'll give this I'll give it a 7 out of 10. What the hell? Why not? So that is my Criterion collection. And if you have any comments, please comment below. And if you haven't subbed, please do. I'll be having a contest pretty soon, hopefully. I think I'm at about 106 subscribers right now, so I'm hoping once I get to 150, hopefully I can get there within a month or so, and then I can have a contest. I'm going to be giving away a couple Blu-rays, so stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.